And then she saw him drowning. The sound hit her first. Sharp gasps and thrashing water cutting through the November silence. Maya's shoes were already off, her toes curled against the concrete edge of the bridge, her art portfolio beside her with the rejection letter still crumpled inside. She'd come here to end it, to let the cold black water take everything. The debt, the evictions, the years of trying and failing and being invisible. But someone else was in her river, and he was fighting to live. His arms broke the surface once, twice, fingers clawing at nothing. Dark hair plastered to his head. The current dragged him under and Maya's body moved before her mind caught up. She hit the water hard, the cold punching into her lungs like a fist. Her jacket ballooned and dragged. She kicked toward the thrashing, toward the drowning man who wanted what she'd been ready to throw away. She grabbed fabric, an expensive suit jacket, and pulled. He was heavy, dead weight, and panic. His elbow caught her cheek and stars exploded across her vision, but she didn't let go. She wrapped her arm across his chest the way lifeguards do in movies and kicked for the shore. Her muscles screamed. Water filled her mouth, her nose. They went under together. Then her foot hit mud. She hauled them both onto the bank and collapsed beside him, coughing river water onto the rocks. He wasn't breathing. Maya's hands found his chest and she pushed, counting compression she'd learned in a high school class a decade ago. Water spilled from his mouth. She tilted his head back, pinched his nose, breathed into him. His lips were cold. She tasted copper and salt. He convulsed and vomited water across the stones. Maya rolled him to his side, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold him. He coughed and gasped and finally breathed on his own. In the moonlight, she saw his face clearly for the first time. Sharp cheekbones, a split lip bleeding down his chin, and dark ink crawling up his neck from beneath his collar. Tattoos that meant something. Everything about him screamed expensive and dangerous. His eyes open, dark, unfocused, struggling to see her. He said something in Korean, words she didn't understand, and then his hand found hers, squeezed once. His watch caught the light, silver and pristine despite the river. Then his eyes closed again. Maya should have called 911, should have stayed, but something primal told her to run, that whatever this man was, whoever had thrown him in that river, she didn't want any part of it. She stumbled to her feet, grabbed her portfolio, and walked away on shaking legs. Behind her, he kept breathing. She'd saved a life. Maybe that was enough reason to keep her own. If you're already hooked, hit that subscribe button because this story is about to get dark. Drop a comment and let me know if you would have saved him or walked away. 3 days passed. Maya painted for the first time in 6 months. The canvas filled with dark water and pale hands breaking the surface, reaching up, reaching down, impossible to tell which was drowning and which was saving. She stood in her cramped studio apartment in clothes she'd worn for 2 days straight, and for the first time since the gallery rejection, since losing her job at the coffee shop for being late too many times, since her landlord posted the eviction notice, she felt something other than numb. Her phone rang. Mom, again. Maya let it go to voicemail. She mixed black and blue until the color matched the river, that exact shade of cold that had tried to kill them both. Her hands still shook sometimes. She'd wake up tasting copper and hear the sound of his gasps. The knock at her door came at 7 p.m. 3 sharp raps, professional and patient. Maya opened it and found 2 men in dark suits. Korean, both of them, with faces that gave away nothing. The one on the left was older, graying at the temples. The one on the right was younger, built like he broke things for a living. Neither smiled. Miss Maya Chen? The older one's English was perfect, accent barely there. Who's asking? Her hand tightened on the doorknob. We represent an employer who wishes to express his gratitude. May we come in? No. Maya started to close the door. The younger man's hand caught it, not aggressive, just immovable. She saw the gun holster under his jacket. Please, the older man said, and somehow that was more terrifying than the weapon. Our employer is very insistent. He wishes to thank you properly for saving his life. The river. The drowning man. Maya's stomach dropped. I don't want anything. Tell him we're even. Tell him I'm glad he's okay. Tell him to forget I exist. Unfortunately, he cannot do that. His enemies saw you pull him from the water. You are known to them now. The older man pulled a card from his pocket, black with silver lettering, an address in the expensive part of the city. Tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. This is not a request, Miss Chen. This is how we keep you alive. They left. Maya stood in her doorway holding the card, her heart hammering against her ribs. She thought about running. She had $200 in her account, and a car that might make it to the state line. But if they'd found her apartment, found her name, found her phone number, where could she possibly run that they wouldn't find her? She closed the door and locked it. Then she shoved her couch against it and didn't sleep all night. The restaurant was the kind of place Maya had only seen in magazines, sleek and modern with private rooms behind rice paper screens. The hostess expected her, led her without questions through the main dining area to a room in the back. She opened the door, and there he was, the drowning man, alive. Sitting at a low table with perfect posture, wearing a suit that probably cost more than her yearly rent. His face had healed since the river. The split lip was gone, but she recognized the sharp cheekbones, the dark eyes that tracked her with an intensity that made her want to bolt. Miss Chen. He stood, a slight bow. Please, sit. I'll stand. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. As you wish. He gestured and the older man from yesterday appeared, set a briefcase on the table, and left, closing the door behind him. They were alone. My name is Kang Min-jun. 3 nights ago you saved my life. I am in your debt. You don't owe me anything. I heard someone drowning. I helped. That's it. We're done. In my culture, a life debt is not so easily dismissed. He opened the briefcase. Stacks of cash, more money than Maya had seen in her entire life. This is a token of my gratitude, $50,000, enough to solve your immediate problems, I believe. Maya stared at the money. 50,000. She could pay off her debts, keep her apartment, buy supplies, actually eat something other than ramen. Her fingers twitched toward it. Then she saw his expression, patient and knowing, and rage flooded through her. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? His head tilted slightly. A job? I own several legitimate businesses. A new apartment. I know several landlords who would be honored to accommodate you. I want you to leave me alone. She turned for the door. I cannot do that. His voice stopped her, quiet but absolute. My enemies saw you, Miss Chen. They know your face. They believe you are important to me, which means they will use you to hurt me. The moment I learned this, you stopped being safe. That's not my problem. It became your problem the moment you pulled me from that river. He moved faster than she expected, crossing the room to stand between her and the door. Up close, she could see the faint scar on his temple, fresh. I did not ask for your help, but you gave it, and now we are bound. You can hate me for it. You can refuse my money, my gratitude, every offer I make. But I will not allow you to die because of your kindness. You don't get to decide what happens to me. Neither do you, not anymore. His eyes held hers, dark and unflinching. Someone threw me in that river to kill me. Someone from my own organization. They are still out there, still hunting, and now they know about you. So you have 2 choices. Accept my protection and live, or refuse it and become a headline. Maya's hands curled into fists. You're threatening me. I am telling you the truth. He stepped back, pulled his phone from his pocket, and showed her a photo. Her apartment building, taken today, from across the street. A man in a leather jacket watching her window. This man has been there since noon. He is not one of mine. Would you like to guess who sent him? The room tilted. Maya grabbed the edge of the table. I have a car waiting, Min-jun said quietly. It will take you to a secure location. Your belongings are already being moved. You can refuse, walk out that door, go home. But he will follow you, and I cannot protect you if you will not let me. This is insane. Yes, something almost human flickered across his face. I wish you had let me drown, Maya laughed, a broken sound. Yeah, me too. We're hitting the midpoint and things are about to get so much worse for Maya. If you're loving this, smash that like button and drop a comment telling me what you'd do in her situation. Would you take his protection or run? The penthouse occupied the top 3 floors of a building Maya couldn't afford to look at. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, lights spreading out like stars. Her paintings, her clothes, her entire pathetic life had been packed into boxes and arranged in a bedroom bigger than her whole apartment. Minjun's people moved like ghosts, silent and efficient. The older man from before introduced himself as Jay, head of security, and explained the rules with the warmth of a prison warden. Do not leave without security. Do not contact friends or family from your personal phone. Do not ask questions about business you witness. Stay alive. Then they left her alone in her gilded cage. Maya spent the first hour testing every window. None opened. The elevator required a key card she didn't have. Her phone had been replaced with a new one. Different number, only 3 contacts saved. Minjun. Jay. Emergency. She threw it across the room and it bounced off a leather couch that probably cost more than her car. She was trapped. Trapped by a man she'd saved. Trapped by his enemies. Trapped by her own stupid, heroic impulse. The woman who'd stood on that bridge ready to jump now couldn't leave a penthouse even if she wanted to. The laugh that bubbled up tasted like hysteria. A door opened. Minjun stepped into the living room, loosening his tie. He looked tired, she realized, the kind of exhaustion that lived in bones. He saw the phone on the floor, her tear-streaked face, and something in his expression softened. I know this is not what you wanted. You don't know anything about me. Maya's voice cracked. I know you're an artist. I know you lost your job 3 weeks ago. I know your landlord filed for eviction. I know you maxed out your last credit card, buying your mother's heart medication. He moved to the bar, poured 2 glasses of whiskey, and offered her one. I know you went to that bridge to end your life, and I know the sound of me drowning changed your mind. The glass slipped from Maya's fingers. It hit the carpet, whiskey soaking in. How do you... I make it my business to know everything about people who save me, and people who might be used against me. He set his own glass down, untouched. Your mother called your old phone 17 times today. Jay told me I can arrange for you to call her back, monitored if you need to. Monitored, Maya's hand shook. Like a prisoner. Like someone being kept alive. He moved toward her, slow, like approaching a wounded animal. I did not ask for this. You think I want the responsibility of your life? You think I want to care if you live or die? I have enough blood on my hands, Miss Chen, but you tied yourself to me, and I will not let you drown for it. Stop saying that like I had a choice. You did! His control cracked just for a second, and she saw the rage underneath. You could have walked past, called 911 and left, but you jumped in. You breathed life back into me. You made yourself matter, and now I cannot unmake it. They stood 3 feet apart, both breathing hard. Maya saw it then, the thing he was trying to hide. Fear. He was afraid, not of dying, of her dying, of caring about something soft in his world of sharp edges. Who are you? She whispered. Someone who should have drowned. He turned away, shoulders rigid. Your apartment was burned tonight. Professional job. Everyone got out, but the building is gone. If you had been there, they would have made sure you were not so lucky. The room spun. Maya sat down hard on the couch. Her apartment, her paintings, everything. I am sorry, Minjun said to the window. I am sorry you saved me. 2 weeks crawled by. Maya painted in the studio they'd built for her, a room full of north light and expensive brushes she didn't ask for. She painted dark water and drowning hands until her fingers cramped. Jay brought her meals she barely touched. The guards changed shifts outside her door like clockwork, and Minjun disappeared for days at a time, came back with blood on his cuffs and shadows under his eyes. She hated him, hated the cage he'd built, hated the way he looked at her like she was something breakable, hated that she'd saved him. But late at night when she couldn't sleep, she'd find him in the kitchen, both of them haunted by their own demons. And they'd talk. Small things at first. He told her about growing up in his father's shadow, legacy built on violence and fear. She told him about art school, dreams that shriveled against reality. He admitted he'd never wanted this life. She admitted she'd stopped wanting any life at all. "Why did you jump in?" he asked one night at 3 a.m., both of them drinking coffee that wouldn't help the insomnia. "You didn't know me. You were there to die." "What changed?" Maya stared into her cup. "I heard you fighting, thrashing, struggling, trying so hard to live, and something in me woke up. Like if this stranger wanted to live that badly, maybe I should try too. Maybe giving up was the coward's choice. And now? Now I'm trapped in a stranger's penthouse. My life burned to ash, and I still don't know if I made the right choice." She looked at him across the kitchen island. "Do you ever wish I'd let you drown?" "Every day," he said quietly. "And never. You are the first real thing in my life in years. Everything else is transaction, territory, blood. But you jumped in and asked for nothing. Expected nothing. You are impossible, Miss Chen." "Maya," she corrected. "If I'm stuck here, at least use my name." "Maya," the way he said it sounded like a prayer. "I will keep you safe, I swear it." 3 days later, she watched him beat a man half to death in the living room. She'd come out of her studio for water. Found them there, Minjun and 2 of his men holding someone to his knees. The man was begging in Korean, words Maya didn't understand but recognized the tone. Pleading. Minjun's face was empty, terrifyingly blank, as he asked questions in a voice like winter. When the man didn't answer fast enough, Minjun's fist drove into his ribs. The crack echoed. Maya dropped her water glass. It shattered. Minjun's head snapped toward her, blood on his knuckles. The man at his feet whimpered. For a frozen second, their eyes met, and she saw him see himself through her eyes. Monster. Brutal. Exactly what she'd feared. "Get her out," he said to Jay, but Maya was already running, back to her room, door locked, heart hammering. She heard them drag the man away, heard the elevator ding. Silence. An hour later, Minjun knocked. She didn't answer. He spoke through the door, voice rough. "That man sold information about you to my enemies. Your location, your routines. He put a price on your head for $30,000. A pause. "He will not do it again." "You're a monster," Maya whispered. "Yes." No denial. No excuse. "I am what I was made to be. But I am a monster who will keep you alive." That night, Maya tried to leave. Made it to the lobby, past 2 guards who were changing shifts. Then Jay appeared from nowhere, stepped in front of the doors, and looked at her with something almost like sympathy. "He will drag you back himself," Jay said quietly, "and hate himself for it, but he will not let you go. Not while you are in danger." "I'll take my chances." "No, you will not, because you are not stupid, and you know what waits for you out there." He moved aside, let her see the street through the glass. A car, idling across the road. 2 men inside, watching the lobby. "They work for Mr. Lim. He runs the organization trying to take Minjun's territory. He will use you to break him, and what they will do to you first will make you wish you had drowned in that river." Maya's legs gave out. Jay caught her, surprisingly gentle for a man who looked like he crushed skulls for cardio. "I know this is not fair," he said. "I know you're paying for a kindness, but Minjun will die before he lets them have you. That is worth something." "Why?" Maya's voice broke. "Why does he care?" "Because you're the only person who ever saw him drowning and jumped in." Jay helped her stand. "Everyone else would have watched him sink." She went back upstairs. Minjun was waiting in the living room, still wearing the shirt with blood on the cuffs. He looked at her, and something in his careful control cracked. "I cannot let you go." His hands curled into fists at his sides. "I know I should. I know keeping you. Here makes me no better than them, but every instinct I have screams to protect you, and I cannot fight it anymore. You don't own me. I know. He crossed the room, stopped close enough that she could see the exhaustion in his eyes, the desperation. But you own me. The moment you pulled me from that water, you became the only thing in this world I cannot afford to lose. Maya's breath caught. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. His hand lifted, almost touched her face, then fell. But it is true. The moment stretched between them, fragile and electric. Maya should have been terrified, should have hated him. But standing there, seeing the war in his eyes between the monster and the man, she felt something else entirely. Understanding, because she knew what it was like to drown, and she knew what it was like to fight your way to the surface only to find the air burned your lungs just as much as the water. She leaned forward. He went still, barely breathing. Her forehead rested against his chest and she felt his heart hammering like he was the one drowning now. I hate you, she whispered. His arms came around her, careful, like she might shatter. I know. I hate that I saved you. I know. I hate that I can't leave. I know. His voice cracked. I hate it too. They stood there, two people drowning in different oceans, holding each other above water. And when Maya tilted her head back and his eyes met hers, dark and desperate, and asking a question she shouldn't answer, she kissed him anyway. If you've made it this far, you're as trapped as Maya is. Hit that subscribe button because the danger is about to explode, and I promise you won't see what's coming next. The kiss tasted like coffee and desperation. Minjun kissed her like she was air and he'd been drowning for years. His hands cupped her face, gentle despite the violence she'd seen them capable of. And Maya grabbed his shirt, pulled him closer, stopped thinking. They stumbled backward, hit the wall. His mouth moved to her neck and she gasped. Then reality crashed in. She pushed him away, breathing hard. This is insane. Yes. He looked wrecked, hair messed from her fingers, lips swollen. You're a criminal, a killer. Everything about this is wrong. Yes. No defense, just truth. I can't want this, can't want you. But you do? He said it like a fact, like a tragedy. And I want you. Have wanted you since you breathed life into me, and walked away like saving me meant nothing. Maya laughed, broken. It meant everything, that's the problem. I saved you, and now I can't escape you. Then stop trying. He moved toward her again, slow, giving her time to run. She didn't. Stop fighting this. Stop pretending you do not feel it. Feel what? That we are the same. His thumb brushed her cheekbone, a touch so tender it hurt. Both drowning, both fighting, both terrified of wanting to live because living hurts more than dying. The words cut through every defense she had. Maya closed her eyes and felt tears spill. I went to that bridge to end it, she whispered. I was so tired, so done. And then I heard you, and something in me woke up, and now I can't go back to not caring if I live or die. You did that. You made me want to survive. You did the same to me. His forehead pressed against hers. I built my life around not caring, not feeling, and then you jumped into freezing water for a stranger, and I cannot stop caring what happens to you. They kissed again, slower this time, deeper. Maya let herself have it, have him, just for a moment. Let herself feel wanted and alive and something other than numb. His hand slid into her hair and she made a sound against his mouth that was half sob, half surrender. When they finally broke apart, both breathing like they'd surfaced from deep water, Minjun rested his forehead against hers and spoke in Korean. She didn't understand the words, but felt the weight of them. What does that mean? It means you are going to ruin me, he said quietly, and I will let you. That night, Maya slept in his bed. Not sex, not yet, just tangled together like survivors clinging to wreckage. His arm around her waist, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat and remembering how it had stopped under her hands, how she'd brought him back, how they'd brought each other back. In the morning, everything shattered. The explosion came at dawn. Maya jerked awake to the sound of shattering glass and alarms screaming. Minjun was already moving, grabbing a gun from the nightstand, pushing her toward the bathroom. Stay down! Gunfire erupted in the living room. Maya heard shouting, Jay's voice barking orders. Minjun was at the door returning fire, and she saw men in masks pouring from the elevator. This was it. The attack Jay had warned her about. They'd come for Minjun and they'd come through her. One of the attackers broke through, rushed the bedroom. Minjun shot him twice, but another came behind. Maya grabbed the lamp from the nightstand and swung it. It connected with the man's head and he went down. Minjun stared at her for one frozen second, then grabbed her hand and ran. They made it to the stairwell. Jay appeared with 3 other guards, bleeding from a cut above his eye. Service exit, now! They ran down 20 flights, gunfire echoing above them. Maya's lungs burned. Minjun kept his hand locked around hers, wouldn't let go even when she stumbled. They burst into the underground parking garage and piled into an armored car. Jay drove like he was trying to kill them differently. How did they find us? Minjun's voice was ice. Inside job, Jay said grimly. Has to be. Only our people knew the security schedule. Maya pressed against Minjun's side, shaking so hard her teeth chattered. He pulled her close, one arm around her shoulders, while the other held his gun trained on the rear window. His shirt was torn, blood seeping through near his ribs. She pressed her hand against it. You're hit. Grazed. I'm fine. You're bleeding. I'm fine. He looked down at her, something fierce in his eyes. You hit that man with a lamp. He was going to kill you. You could have run, hidden. Instead, you fought. Yeah, well, Maya's laugh sounded hysterical even to her own ears. Apparently, I'm really committed to keeping you alive. His hand found hers, squeezed, blood and violence, and something that felt dangerously like love. They ended up in a safe house across the city, a nondescript apartment in a building that looked abandoned. Jay swept it for bugs while Minjun stripped his ruined shirt and let Maya bandage the bullet graze. Her hands shook, but she focused on the task, on antiseptic and gauze, and not thinking about how close that bullet had come to his heart. This can't keep happening, she said. I know. They'll keep coming, keep trying to kill you. Kill me. I know. He caught her wrist, stilled her shaking hands. I'm going to end this. Find who betrayed me. Burn their operation to ash. And then what? And then you will be safe. Will I? Maya met his eyes. Or will there just be another enemy, another threat, another reason I can't leave? He looked at her like she'd stabbed him. You want to leave. I want a choice. Her voice broke. I want to not be a prisoner in a war I didn't sign up for. I want to paint and live and not wake up to gunfire. I want normal. I cannot give you normal. I know. Tears spilled down her cheeks. That's the problem. I'm falling for someone who can only offer me danger and blood and a lifetime of looking over my shoulder. And I don't know how to stop. Minjun pulled her against his chest, wrapped his arms around her like he could shield her from the truth. I'm sorry. For all of it. If I could go back, if I could drown and spare you this? Don't. Maya fisted her hands in his hair, pulled his face down to hers. Don't you dare. I jumped in. I chose to save you, and I'd choose it again, even knowing what it cost. Why? Because some part of me knew. She kissed him, soft and desperate. Knew that saving you meant saving myself, that we were always going to drown or surface together. They made love on the floor of that safe house, frantic and fierce, like they could chase away death with touch. Maya memorized the feel of him, the scars she traced with her fingers, the way he whispered her name like a prayer. Afterward, they lay tangled together, his heartbeat steady under her ear, and she let herself pretend they were just 2 people in love, instead of 2 people at war. I will protect you, Minjun said into her hair, whatever it takes. I know. Maya closed her eyes. That's what scares me. Because she'd seen what he was capable of. Seen the violence he wielded like a blade, and she was terrified that protecting her would destroy him, would turn him into something she couldn't recognize, something she couldn't love. But she loved him anyway, loved him fierce and foolish and completely. The man who taught her that surviving meant fighting, that choosing to live was braver than choosing to die, even if that choice might kill them both. Stay with me, because the betrayal is about to be revealed, and everything Maya thinks she knows is about to explode. If this story has you hooked, drop a like and comment what you think happens next. The betrayal came from the inside, just like Jay suspected. Minjun's head of security operations, a man named Choi who'd served his father for 20 years, was the one who'd opened the doors for the attack. Jay discovered it 3 days later, found bank transfers and encrypted messages, evidence that couldn't be denied. Choi had sold them out for territory and a promise of power from Mr. Lim's organization. Minjun called a meeting. Maya watched from the doorway as Choi was brought into the safe house, flanked by guards, still thinking he could talk his way out. He saw Minjun's face and knew. It was business, Choi said in Korean, then English for Maya's benefit. Nothing personal. Your father would have understood. My father would have killed you slowly. Minjun's voice was empty, the blankness that meant violence was coming. But I am not my father. He shot Choi once, clean through the heart. The man dropped. Maya flinched but didn't look away. This was the world she'd chosen, the man she'd chosen. She couldn't close her eyes to it anymore. Minjun's hand shook as he lowered the gun. Jay moved forward, started directing the cleanup. Minjun walked past Maya without seeing her, into the bedroom, closed the door. She heard something break, then silence. She found him sitting on the floor, head in his hands. The gun was on the bed. His shoulders shook. I knew him since I was a child, Minjun said without looking up. He taught me to shoot, to fight, and he sold me for money. Maya sat beside him, took his hand. It was still warm from the gun. I'm sorry. I killed him, and I feel nothing. That is what I am. That is what this life makes you. You feel something. She squeezed his hand. I can see it. You're breaking. Then let me break. He finally looked at her, eyes red. Let me shatter, because I am so tired of being what they made me, so tired of blood and betrayal, and never trusting anyone. You trust me. Yes, a broken laugh. The woman who saved me, the only person in my world who wants nothing from me except honesty. How foolish is that? Pretty foolish. Maya cupped his face, made him meet her eyes. But I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me. Even after this? After watching me kill him? He tried to kill us, sold us to monsters. I'm not going to pretend I feel bad he's dead. She kissed him, soft. I told you. We're drowning, or surfacing together. That means the dark parts, too. He pulled her into his lap, buried his face in her neck. I love you. God help me. I love you and it terrifies me. Maya's breath caught. They danced around it for weeks, felt it in every touch and look, but hearing the words made it real, made it impossible to pretend this was temporary, survival instinct, anything other than what it was. I love you too, she whispered, even though you're a criminal and a killer and everything my mother warned me about. Especially because of that? His lips curved against her skin. Maybe. She threaded her fingers through his hair. Or maybe because you're the only person who ever saw me ready to give up and refused to let me. Who fought for me when I'd stopped fighting for myself. They held each other as the sun set. Two broken people learning how to be whole. But the peace didn't last. It never did. Mr. Lim made his move 2 days later. Not an attack. An offer. He sent an emissary, a slick man in an expensive suit who smiled like a shark. The offer was simple. Minjun surrenders half his territory and his connections to the Korean syndicates, or Lim burns every legitimate business Minjun owned and kills everyone who worked there. Civilians, families, people who'd done nothing but work in restaurants and shops that Minjun's money kept running. How long do I have? Minjun asked. 24 hours. The emissary left a burner phone. Call when you decide. Maya watched Minjun pace the safe house living room, mind working. Jay stood in the corner, face grim. The stakes were impossible. Surrender and lose everything his family built. Become weak. Invite more attacks. Refuse and innocent people died. There has to be another option, Maya said. There is not. Minjun stopped pacing, looked at her. This is the choice I have always known was coming. Power or people, the empire or my soul. What if you meet with him? Maya heard herself say. Negotiate. Buy time. He will kill me the moment I show weakness. Not if you bring leverage. Her mind raced. Artist brain seeing patterns. He wants your territory because you have connections he doesn't. Political influence, international ties. What if you offer him access instead of surrender? A partnership. He will never trust it. He doesn't have to trust it. He just has to want it more than he wants you dead. Maya grabbed Minjun's hands. You're thinking like your father. All or nothing. But you're not him. You can find another way. Jay cleared his throat. She's right. Lim is ambitious, but he's practical. If you give him a path to more power without the war, he might take it. Minjun looked between them, then at Maya, something like hope in his eyes. You are suggesting I become a businessman instead of a warlord. I'm suggesting you survive. Maya squeezed his hands. And maybe find a way to live with yourself after. He pulled her close, kissed her hard. If this goes wrong, it won't. But if it does, I need you to promise me something. His hands framed her face. You run. You take the money Jay has set aside. You disappear. You live. Promise me. No, Maya glared at him. We're surfacing together, remember? I'm not running. I'm not losing you. So make sure your plan works. He laughed, the sound shocked out of him. You are the most stubborn woman I've ever met. Yeah, well, I had a good teacher. She kissed him again. Now, go save the world. I'll be here when you get back. The meeting was set for the warehouse district by the river. The same river where Maya had pulled Minjun from the water 6 weeks ago. Full circle, she thought, watching from the armored car as Minjun, Jay, and 4 guards approached the warehouse. Mr. Lim waited inside with twice as many men. This could go diplomatic, or it could become a massacre. Maya was supposed to stay in the car, safe, protected. But something felt wrong, the way Lim's men positioned themselves. Too spread out, too ready. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a trap. She saw the glint of a rifle scope from a roof across the street, saw the angle pointed at the warehouse entrance, at Minjun's back. No time to think. She grabbed the radio. Jay, sniper on the roof, east side. Everything exploded at once. The sniper fired. Jay shoved Minjun aside and took the bullet in his shoulder. Minjun's guards returned fire. Lim's men poured from the warehouse, guns blazing. Maya's driver tried to reverse, but another car blocked them in. She saw men approaching, saw the driver pull his weapon. Then she saw Minjun go down. A bullet caught him in the side, spun him. He fired back, dropped 2 of Lim's men, but he was bleeding, stumbling. Jay dragged him toward cover, one arm useless, both of them going to die if someone didn't do something. Maya grabbed the spare gun from the glove box, the one Jay had made her learn to use, just in case, and kicked open the car door. The driver yelled at her to stop, but she was already running, firing at the men between her and Minjun. She hit one in the leg, winged another, pure adrenaline and luck. She reached them behind a concrete barrier, blood everywhere, and skidded to her knees beside Minjun, his eyes focused on her, wide with shock and fury. What are you doing here? Saving you. Again. She pressed her hands against the wound in his side. Apparently, it's my thing. You were supposed to stay safe, and you were supposed to not get shot. She looked at Jay. Can you drive? If someone covers us. He grimaced, right arm dangling. Gunfire pinned them down. Maya heard sirens in the distance, police finally responding. Lim's men were retreating, not willing to stick around for law enforcement. But they'd left shooters to finish the job, 3 men advancing on their position. Maya stood, raised her gun. Minjun tried to grab her, but she was already firing. She remembered everything Jay taught her. Breath control and sight picture and squeeze don't pull. She dropped the first man. hit the second in the chest, missed the third but made him dive for cover. It bought them seconds. Jay got Minjun to his feet, half carrying him toward their car. Maya covered them, fired until her magazine was empty, then ran. Bullets chewed up the concrete behind her. She felt one pass so close to her head, the air displacement burned. Then she was in the car. Jay was driving one-handed, and they were speeding away from the carnage. Minjun pulled her against him, his blood soaking her shirt, and laughed, delirious, pained, utterly shocked. "You shot them! You actually shot them!" "I told you!" Maya pressed harder on his wound, felt the hot blood pulse. Drowning or surfacing together. That includes firefights, apparently. "You are insane." Yeah, she kissed his forehead, his temple, anywhere she could reach. "But I'm your kind of insane." They made it to a private clinic, a doctor who asked no questions and worked quickly. Minjun's wound was serious but survivable. The bullet through and through, missing vital organs by inches. Jay's shoulder needed surgery, but he'd live. Maya sat in the waiting room, hands shaking, covered in blood that wasn't hers, and tried to process what she'd just done. She'd killed people, shot them without hesitation to save Minjun. Became exactly what she'd feared, a person capable of violence, of choosing who lived and died. And the worst part? She didn't regret it. Would do it again, would do anything to keep him breathing. When the doctor finally let her in, Minjun was sitting up, heavily bandaged, high on painkillers but conscious. He saw her, and something in his expression broke. "Come here." Maya went, let him pull her onto the bed beside him, careful of his injuries. He held her like she was the one who'd been shot, like she was the miracle. "You saved me," he said, again. "Told you I'm committed." She traced the edge of his bandage. "Though maybe next time we could skip the part where you get shot. Next time I am locking you in a bunker." But he was smiling, painkillers making him soft. My stubborn, brilliant, completely unhinged savior. Is Lim dead? No. He escaped, but his operation is crippled. Most of his men are arrested or dead. He will not move against us again anytime soon. Minjun's hand found hers. "You bought us time, and maybe a chance at something different." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I am tired, Maya. Tired of the blood, the endless war. You made me see that I could choose differently, build something instead of just protecting what my father built." His eyes met hers, clear despite the drugs. "I want to try. For you. For us." Maya felt tears spill. "You'd really leave this life?" "Not entirely. I cannot erase what I am, but I can choose what I become." He wiped her tears with his thumb. "You chose to surface when you saved me. Let me choose it too." She kissed him, gentle around his injuries, tasting salt and copper and hope. "Okay, let's surface. Together." "Together," he agreed. And despite everything, despite the blood and the danger and the impossible odds, Maya believed him. We're in the final stretch, and you've stuck with Maya and Minjun this far. If this story has grabbed you by the throat, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what you think happens next. Because trust me, we're not done yet. 6 months later, Maya stood in an art gallery, her art gallery, watching strangers examine her paintings. The collection was called Drowning/Surfacing, and every piece told a story. Dark water and pale hands, figures pulling each other toward light, the moment between sinking and surviving. Critics called it raw, visceral, unflinching. They didn't know the half of it. Minjun stood beside her, one hand resting at the small of her back. He looked different in a suit with no blood on it. Hair styled, playing the part of wealthy benefactor instead of crime lord. He'd kept his word, stepped back from the violence, promoted Jay to handle the legitimate businesses while he quietly dismantled the illegal operations. It wasn't clean, wasn't simple. Some of his father's old associates had to be convinced with force. But Minjun was building something new from the ashes of what his family had been. "That one," he said, nodding toward the centerpiece painting. 2 figures in water, arms wrapped around each other, impossible to tell who was saving whom. "That is my favorite." Mine too. Maya leaned into him, let herself have this. The gallery, the art, the man who'd become her anchor and her storm. It's us. Yes. He pressed a kiss to her temple, careful of the crowd watching. It is. A woman approached, elegant and sharp-eyed, recognizing Minjun. She engaged him in conversation about investments and opportunities. Maya drifted away, let him work the room. This was part of the new life, too. Networking and legitimacy and pretending they were normal people with normal problems. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Maya's stomach dropped even before she read it. Beautiful gallery. Shame if something happened to it. Or to her. Tell Kang he should have finished me when he had the chance. Lim. Ice flooded her veins. She looked up, scanned the crowd, saw nothing suspicious. But Lim was out there, had found her, was threatening her again. The war wasn't over. It had just been sleeping. Maya caught Minjun's eye across the room. He saw her expression and was moving before she could signal, excusing himself, crossing to her. What is wrong? She showed him the phone, watched his face go hard, the businessman mask cracking to show the killer underneath. He is here, or watching. We need to leave, now. No, Maya grabbed his arm. We're not running, not anymore. This is my life, my gallery. I won't let him take it. Maya, I said no. She looked him in the eye. You wanted to build something different, something real. We don't do that by running every time he threatens us. We do it by standing our ground. Minjun stared at her, torn between protection and pride. Then slowly, he nodded. Jay is already outside. I had him position security when we arrived. If Lim makes a move, we will be ready. Good, Maya took his hand, squeezed. Then let's finish this opening, show him we're not afraid. They stayed, smiled at critics and collectors, sold 3 paintings, played normal so convincingly Maya almost believed it. But when the last guest left and they were alone in the gallery, Minjun pulled her close and she felt him shaking. I cannot lose you, he said into her hair. I cannot go through that again. You won't, Maya pulled back, cupped his face. We're going to end this, together, like everything else. How? I don't know yet. She thought of the river, the bridge, the choice she'd made to save a drowning stranger. But I didn't pull you out of the water just to let you drown in this. We'll find a way. They left through the back, Jay and 4 guards surrounding them. The car ride home was silent, both of them processing. When they reached the penthouse, Minjun checked every room, every window, the warrior returning now that the businessman mask was off. Maya watched him and saw both men clearly. The killer and the builder, the monster and the man, and loved him for containing them both. That night in bed, he held her like she might disappear, face buried in her neck, breathing her in. I am afraid, he admitted, of failing you, of my world destroying the life we are building. I'm afraid too. Maya ran her fingers through his hair. Terrified, actually, but fear means we have something worth protecting, something worth fighting for. You are worth fighting for. He lifted his head, eyes fierce. Worth killing for, worth dying for. Then live for me instead. She kissed him softly. Choose to surface. Every day, every threat. Choose the life we're building over the war we're leaving. I will try. His arms tightened around her. For you, I will try. They made love slowly. Every touch a promise. Every kiss a vow. This was what they'd fought for. This quiet intimacy. This choice to hold each other above the drowning. And when Maya finally slept, curled against Minjun's chest, she dreamed not of dark water, but of light breaking the surface, of hands reaching up and finding sky. The confrontation with Lim came 3 days later, but not how Maya expected. He sent an invitation, formal and polite, to a meeting on neutral ground, a restaurant in Koreatown, public and watched, too many witnesses for violence. Minjun wanted to refuse. Jay advised against going, but Maya saw an opportunity. Let me come with you, she said. Absolutely not. Listen to me. She grabbed his hands. He's targeting me to get to you, making me the weakness. But what if I'm the strength instead? What if we face him together? Show him that threatening me doesn't work because I'm not some helpless victim? You are asking to walk into danger. I'm asking to end this. Maya met his eyes. On our terms. Together. Minjun looked at Jay, who shrugged. She has a point, and she proved she can handle herself. Fine. Minjun pulled Maya close, kissed her hard. But you stay beside me, you do exactly what I say, and if anything goes wrong, you run. Deal. She kissed him back. Let's finish this. The restaurant was crowded, lunch rush in full swing, civilians everywhere. Lim sat at a corner table, 2 bodyguards flanking him, smiling like this was a social call. He stood when they approached, bowed slightly to Maya. Miss Chen, you are even more beautiful in person than in photographs. And you're exactly as creepy as I imagined. Maya sat before Minjun could pull out her chair, took control of the dynamic. Let's skip the pleasantries. You want something. What is it? Lim laughed, genuinely amused. Direct. I like that. Very well. I want what I have always wanted. Territory, connections, power. Your lover has been very stubborn about providing them. Because you tried to kill us. Maya leaned forward, multiple times, not exactly building trust. Business. Lim spread his hands. Nothing personal, but perhaps we can find a solution that benefits everyone. We're listening, Minjun said, voice flat. What followed was negotiation, the kind Maya had watched Minjun navigate before, but never participated in. Lim wanted access to political connections in Korea, shipping routes for legitimate cargo, a partnership that gave him respectability. In exchange, he'd end the attacks, acknowledge Minjun's territory, and leave them alone. You could have offered this months ago, Maya said, before the warehouse, the attempts on our lives. Why now? Because now I know you are serious about leaving the old ways. Lim looked at Minjun. Building galleries, investing in legal businesses. You are becoming weak or smart. Time will tell which. And if I refuse your offer, then the war continues. And eventually, one of us dies. Lim smiled. But I think you are tired of war, Kang. I think you would rather build something with your beautiful artist than burn it all down defending your pride. Maya felt Minjun's tension, the struggle between the man his father raised and the man he wanted to become. She squeezed his hand under the table. Choose us, the gesture said. Choose the surface. Agreed, Minjun said finally, but with conditions. You do not contact her. You do not threaten her. She is off limits entirely. That is not negotiable. Done. Lim extended his hand. To peace and profit. Minjun shook it. The deal sealed. They left the restaurant alive, unshot. Something that felt dangerously like hope settling in Maya's chest. In the car, Jay let out a long breath. I cannot believe that worked. Neither can I, Minjun admitted. He looked at Maya, something like awe in his expression. You faced him without fear. I was terrified, Maya laughed, shaky. But I meant what I said. I'm done being the weakness he uses against you. If I'm going to be in your life, I'm going to be a partner, an equal. You already are. He pulled her close, kissed her temple. You have been since the moment you jumped in that river. The months that followed were strange and ordinary. Minjun's businesses stabilized. His reputation shifted from crime lord to shrewd investor. The violence didn't disappear entirely. There were still threats, still problems that required Jay's particular skill set. But it was manageable, survivable. Maya's art career took off. Galleries in 3 cities carrying her work. Critics calling her the voice of a generation. They bought a house, something neither of them had ever imagined. Real estate with a yard, neighbors who didn't know about the bodies buried in Minjun's past. Maya turned the 3rd bedroom into a studio, painted in the natural light while Minjun worked from a home office, both of them building a life that looked almost normal. But the river stayed with them. Maya painted it over and over, dark water and struggling hands, the moment of choice between drowning and fighting. And sometimes late at night when they couldn't sleep, they'd talk about it. The bridge, the sound of him thrashing, her decision to jump. Do you still think about it? Minjun asked one night, both of them tangled on the couch, her head on his chest. Ending your life? Sometimes, Maya admitted, when things get hard, when the fear comes back. But then I remember how it felt, pulling you from that water. How it woke something in me. Gave me a reason to fight. You gave me the same. His fingers traced patterns on her shoulder. I was drowning long before that river. Drowning in expectations, in violence, in becoming what my father demanded. And you pulled me out. Gave me permission to choose differently. We saved each other. Yes. He kissed the top of her head. We did. The final piece of Maya's next collection was a self-portrait, her standing at a river's edge, shoes off, water dark below. But she wasn't alone. Min Jun stood beside her, hand in hers, both of them looking forward instead of down. The title was simple, Surface. The night of the opening, standing in a new gallery full of people who'd paid to see her vision of survival, Min Jun found her in front of that painting. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, chin resting on her shoulder. "That is us," he said. "That's us choosing." Maya leaned back into him, choosing life, choosing each other, choosing to surface instead of sink. "Every day," he agreed, "for the rest of my life, I choose you." Maya turned in his arms, looked up at the man who'd been drowning and fighting, and refusing to give up, even when the water tried to take him. The man who taught her that surviving meant choosing to fight. That love could be found in the darkest water if you were brave enough to reach for it. "I love you," she said. "I love you," he answered. And there in a gallery full of paintings about drowning and surfacing, two people who'd saved each other held on tight and chose to keep living. Together. Always together. Because some people drown. Some people surface. And some people pull each other toward the light and refuse to let go. If this story grabbed you, moved you, made you feel something real, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another story. Drop a like if Maya and Minjun's journey touched your heart, and comment below, telling me your favorite moment, because I love hearing from you. Thank you for staying with me through every word of this journey. Until next time, keep surfacing, keep choosing to live, keep reaching for the light.